Lourdes Havelock spent 28 years walking the aisles of American airports and aircraft, not as a traveler, but as someone trained to keep flights moving, lines short, and decisions fast. Now 64 and retired, she says something most passengers never hear. Many of the problems seniors face at airports aren't written into law, policy, or age-based rules at all. They come from systems designed to favor speed, efficiency, and unspoken compliance. In that environment, the quiet traveler loses the most. Lourdes explains that over the years, she watched capable, experienced adults slowly lose options simply because they didn't realize a choice existed, or because silence was treated as agreement. Nothing dramatic. Nothing hostile. Just small moments where information wasn't offered, time wasn't given, and assumptions filled the gaps. This video isn't about blaming staff or teaching confrontation. It's about revealing how modern airports actually function, where decisions get locked in, and how seniors can move through these spaces with clarity instead of pressure. Not to travel harder, but to travel deliberately. Right 1. The right to be presented with all rebooking options. This issue shows up most often when a flight is delayed, cancelled, or a connection is missed, and it's one of the quietest ways seniors lose control of their trip. Lourdes explains that when disruptions happen, airline systems immediately generate multiple rebooking paths. Different routes, different layover lengths, sometimes even different airports or next-day options. What most passengers don't realize is that agents are under pressure to resolve situations quickly, so they often present the first workable solution rather than the full menu of alternatives. Seniors, especially those traveling alone, tend to assume that what they're offered is the only option available. It usually isn't. Lourdes recalls watching older travelers accept overnight layovers, long airport waits, or physically demanding connections simply because no one mentioned there was another choice that would have been easier on their body or schedule. This isn't about deception. It's about efficiency. Airlines are not obligated to volunteer every permissible option unless the passenger asks for alternatives. The actionable takeaway is simple but powerful. During any disruption, pause and ask one clear question before agreeing to anything. Are there other routing or timing options available today or tomorrow? That single sentence often triggers the system to display choices that weren't initially mentioned. For seniors, this moment matters emotionally because it restores agency. Instead of feeling carried along by events, you're participating in the decision, choosing what fits your energy, health, and priorities, and preventing small compromises from quietly shaping the rest of your journey. Right 2. The right to decline optional procedures. This right comes into play at ticket counters, security handoffs, gate areas, and during boarding, and it's one of the most misunderstood parts of airport travel for older adults. Lourdes explains that the phrase standard procedure is often used as a shortcut, not a rulebook. In reality, many of these procedures exist to keep operations moving smoothly, not because every passenger is legally or contractually required to comply. Seniors tend to accept these instructions without question because they've spent a lifetime respecting systems and assuming consistency. That instinct, while admirable, can quietly cost them comfort, time, or control. Lourdes recalls watching older travelers agree to gate-check bags they were capable of handling, accept seat changes they didn't need, or move to different lines simply because it sounded mandatory. What made these moments effective wasn't authority, but confidence in delivery. When something is presented as routine, most people won't challenge it. The practical shift for seniors is learning to pause and ask a clarifying question before agreeing, such as, is this required, or is it optional? That single question often changes the tone of the interaction and reveals flexibility that wasn't initially mentioned. Emotionally, this matters because it separates cooperation from obligation. Declining an optional procedure isn't being difficult or uncooperative. It's exercising informed choice. Lourdes emphasizes that seniors who calmly seek clarification often retain more comfort and dignity throughout the journey, simply because they didn't assume every instruction carried the same weight. Right 3. The right to time before accepting a change. This right becomes critical in moments when decisions are presented quickly. A sudden seat reassignment, a reroute after a delay, or an offer of miles or a voucher in place of something else. Lourdes explains that airports are built around momentum. Systems are designed to keep people moving, planes turning, and gates clearing, which creates a sense that decisions must be made immediately. Seniors often feel this pressure more strongly because they don't want to hold up a line or draw attention. As a result, many agree to changes before fully understanding the consequences. Lourdes remembers watching older passengers accept tight connections, late-night arrivals, or compensation offers that seemed reasonable in the moment, only to realize later that the trade-off affected their rest, health, or overall trip quality. What most travelers don't realize is that unless safety or security is involved, passengers are typically allowed a brief moment to think, ask clarifying questions, or request alternatives. The system may feel urgent, but it is rarely irreversible in that instant. The actionable takeaway for seniors is to slow the moment down with a simple response like, "I need a minute to understand this," or "Can you explain what happens if I don't accept this option?" Those seconds create space for clarity and often reveal additional alternatives or solutions that weren't initially offered. Emotionally, this right matters because it shifts seniors from reacting to choosing. It reinforces that thoughtful decision-making is not a delay or inconvenience, but a reasonable part of traveling wisely at this stage of life. This small pause can make the difference between a stressful journey and a calm, controlled experience. Right 4. The right to retain assigned seating and comfort features. This right is one of the most tangible and immediate ways seniors can protect their comfort, physical well-being, and sense of control during air travel. Lourdes explains that assigned seating, whether it's an aisle seat, window, or extra legroom, is not just about preference, it's about functionality. For many older travelers, the difference between a slightly wider seat or a particular boarding group can impact circulation, ease of movement, and the ability to manage carry-on items safely. Despite this, gate agents or crew members often make requests to move passengers, swap seats, or adjust boarding priority, presenting them as necessary for operational efficiency or to assist other passengers. What most seniors don't realize is that these requests are frequently voluntary. Airlines rarely require compliance in these situations, even when the suggestion is framed as mandatory. Lourdes recalls numerous occasions where seniors quietly accepted seat changes because they assumed saying no would create conflict or slow down boarding. In reality, asserting the right to keep the assigned seat is usually permitted, and doing so can prevent discomfort, fatigue, or minor injuries over the course of a flight. The actionable advice is simple. Politely confirm with staff whether the requested change is mandatory or optional, and if it is optional, choose the arrangement that maintains your comfort and ease. Emotionally, retaining your assigned seat reinforces autonomy and confidence, reminding seniors that they are entitled to manage their own bodies and schedules within the system. Recognizing this right early, before boarding, allows seniors to plan for hydration, movement, and personal space, preserving dignity and reducing stress for the entire flight. For seniors who travel frequently, understanding and exercising this right transforms seating from a minor logistical detail into a critical element of maintaining well-being, independence, and calm, controlled travel experiences. Right 5. The right to assistance without loss of decision-making authority. This right becomes essential the moment a senior requests mobility support, wheelchair service, or guidance through terminals, security, and gates. Lourdes explains that while assistance is offered to improve safety and convenience, the systems and staff handling it often operate under assumptions that can unintentionally reduce a passenger's autonomy. In many cases, once help is requested, personnel may shift into directive mode, choosing routes, pushing trolleys, or deciding when to board, without confirming preferences at every step. Seniors may comply out of politeness or trust, unaware that their consent is assumed rather than explicitly obtained. Lourdes recounts observing older passengers quietly surrender decision-making, following guidance without knowing they could still make choices regarding timing, path, or method of assistance. The practical takeaway is to clearly communicate your preferences the moment help is offered. Specify walking pace, timing, seating choice, or whether luggage is to be handled by staff. Asking questions like, "Can I still choose my path to the gate?" or "Would you like me to indicate when I'm ready to board?" establishes boundaries without conflict. Emotionally, asserting this right preserves dignity, independence, and confidence, reminding seniors that accepting help does not mean relinquishing control. Understanding this distinction reduces frustration, prevents fatigue from overmanagement, and allows seniors to feel fully engaged in their travel experience. Exercising this right also sets clear expectations with staff, minimizing miscommunications and creating a smoother, more comfortable journey. For those who travel frequently, recognizing that assistance is a tool rather than a rule empowers seniors to navigate busy airports safely while maintaining authority over decisions that affect their comfort, health, and overall experience. Right 6. The right to clear and complete information. This right is one of the most overlooked but crucial aspects of airport travel for seniors. Lourdes emphasizes that delays, gate changes, or unexpected onboard disruptions often create a cascade of decisions that affect connections, ground transportation, and overall trip comfort. While airline staff are obligated to provide accurate information regarding immediate issues, they are not always required to explain the full downstream consequences, such as how a delay might affect a connecting flight, hotel check-in, or transportation schedules. Seniors frequently assume that what is communicated is the whole picture, leaving them unprepared for challenges that arise later. Lourdes recalls watching experienced older travelers make decisions based on partial information, only to face stress, missed connections, or unnecessary expenditures because they didn't realize what was coming next. The actionable advice is to ask clear, specific questions. How will this delay affect my next flight? Or can you confirm what options I have if this gate change impacts my connection? Taking a few extra moments to request complete information allows seniors to plan proactively rather than reactively, maintaining control over their journey. Emotionally, this right strengthens confidence and reduces anxiety, transforming moments of uncertainty into manageable situations. It also reinforces the idea that being informed is not being difficult, it is being deliberate and responsible. By consistently seeking comprehensive information, seniors can navigate the airport with foresight, make better decisions regarding rest, meals, and mobility, and avoid last-minute stresses that disproportionately impact older travelers. Recognizing and exercising this right ensures that every choice is grounded in understanding, enabling a smoother, safer, and more controlled travel experience while maintaining dignity and autonomy throughout the journey. Right 7. The right to decline voluntary requests. This right comes into play whenever airline staff, gate agents, or crew offer actions framed as voluntary, seat swaps, gate checking bags, or performing small favors that appear helpful but aren't mandatory. Lourdes explains that in high-traffic environments, staff often present these requests in ways that make them seem expected or routine, which can create subtle social pressure. Seniors, valuing politeness and cooperation, may accept these offers automatically, assuming refusal would inconvenience others or appear difficult. However, declining a voluntary request does not violate any policy and is entirely within a passenger's rights. Lourdes recalls observing older travelers repeatedly acquiesce to seat swaps or extra assistance that compromised comfort, convenience, or personal schedule, simply because they were presented in a friendly or authoritative tone. The actionable approach is to pause and assess each request, ask whether it is mandatory, optional, or negotiable, and make a choice based on comfort, energy, or personal preference. A simple statement such as, "I appreciate the offer, but I prefer to keep my current arrangement," is enough to assert this right without conflict or delay. Emotionally, exercising this right preserves autonomy, confidence, and dignity, allowing seniors to maintain control over their journey rather than being guided by others' assumptions of what is convenient or expected. By understanding that voluntary requests are just that, voluntary, seniors can protect both their physical comfort and mental calm. Consistently applying this principle prevents small concessions from accumulating into unnecessary fatigue or stress, reinforcing a sense of empowerment and deliberate choice throughout the travel experience. Recognizing and asserting the ability to decline politely ensures seniors navigate airports with confidence, maintaining control over both immediate decisions and broader travel plans, while modeling self-respect and composure for others around them. Right 8. The right to move through the airport at a safe pace. This right is critical for seniors, especially during connections, boarding, and deplaning, when the pace of airport operations can feel relentless. Lourdes explains that while airlines and staff operate on strict schedules to maintain on-time departures and efficient boarding, passengers are never required to move faster than they can safely manage. Many seniors feel pressure from announcements, other travelers, or visible staff expectations, leading them to rush, strain, or risk injury just to keep up. Lourdes recalls observing older travelers hastening through long concourses, navigating crowded security lanes, or lifting luggage under duress, all to avoid perceived judgment or delays. The actionable approach is to acknowledge that your body's limitations and safety take priority. Simple strategies include giving yourself extra connection time, using mobility aids if needed, requesting early boarding, or alerting staff to your pace so they can accommodate without pressure. Seniors can also plan to distribute carry-on items strategically or request assistance when navigating tight spaces, ensuring movement remains safe and comfortable. Emotionally, exercising this right reduces stress, fatigue, and anxiety, transforming potentially overwhelming airport moments into manageable, controlled experiences. Lourdes emphasizes that understanding this principle is empowering. It allows seniors to travel confidently without fear of judgment, maintaining independence while respecting operational realities. By moving deliberately and at a safe pace, seniors protect not only their physical health but also mental clarity, ensuring they arrive at gates, planes, and destinations ready to enjoy the next part of their journey. Recognizing and asserting this right consistently prevents accidents, preserves energy for the flight itself, and reinforces that comfort, safety, and dignity are never negotiable, even within fast-paced travel environments. Right 9. The right to direct communication. This right is essential whenever a senior is traveling alone or with companions, as it ensures that all critical information and decisions are addressed directly to the passenger rather than filtered through others. Lourdes explains that in busy airport environments, staff often communicate primarily with a traveling companion, family member, or assistant, assuming they can relay instructions or updates. While well-intentioned, this approach can lead to confusion, misinterpretation, or missed opportunities, especially when time-sensitive decisions are required. Seniors may feel hesitant to interrupt or assert themselves, fearing they will appear difficult, but doing so is entirely within their rights. Direct communication ensures that passengers receive instructions, boarding information, gate changes, and rebooking options personally, allowing them to process the details accurately and make informed choices. The actionable approach is straightforward. Politely request that information be addressed to you, using phrases such as, "Could you please confirm that with me directly?" or "I'd like to hear the instructions myself, thank you." This reinforces clarity and prevents mistakes, such as missing announcements, misunderstandings about seat assignments, or accidental agreement to optional procedures. Emotionally, asserting this right restores confidence and autonomy, reminding seniors that they are the primary decision-makers in their travel experience. Lourdes emphasizes that clear, direct communication reduces stress, prevents avoidable errors, and strengthens a sense of control in environments where fast-moving procedures can otherwise feel overwhelming. By exercising this right consistently, older travelers can navigate complex airports with clarity, make timely, informed decisions, and maintain dignity and independence, even in high-pressure situations. Direct communication is not about confrontation. It is about ensuring accuracy, protecting personal agency, and empowering seniors to take ownership of their travel experience. Right 10. The right to withhold consent until confirmation. This right is critical during moments when final decisions are being processed, such as confirming a booking change, accepting a seat reassignment, or agreeing to compensation after a delay or disruption. Lourdes emphasizes that in high-pressure airport situations, passengers often feel an unspoken expectation to respond immediately, and systems may interpret silence or non-verbal cues as agreement. Seniors are particularly vulnerable in these moments because the pace of travel and the complexity of options can create confusion, making it tempting to nod, sign, or click through without fully understanding the consequences. Many travelers don't realize that consent is not automatic. It must be explicitly confirmed before the system locks in a change. Exercising this right involves asking clear, direct questions, such as, "I would like to review all options before confirming," or "Please hold until I give explicit approval." Lourdes recounts instances where older passengers unknowingly accepted changes that impacted flight times, seating preferences, or compensation amounts simply because they assumed immediate response was required. Emotionally, withholding consent until confirmation restores control and prevents regret, stress, and unnecessary complications. It ensures that seniors are active participants rather than passive recipients in decisions that directly affect their travel experience. By asserting this right, travelers protect their comfort, finances, and schedule, avoiding last-minute surprises that can cascade into misconnections or logistical headaches. It also reinforces self-confidence, reminding seniors that they have authority over every aspect of their journey until they explicitly approve a change. Recognizing and exercising this right consistently empowers older travelers to navigate airports with deliberation, maintain autonomy, and ensure that every decision, from seating to rerouting to compensation, is made with clarity, full understanding, and personal approval, transforming potentially stressful moments into opportunities for calm, deliberate, and confident travel. As we wrap up, Lourdes reminds seniors that none of these 10 rights are about confrontation, conflict, or asserting entitlement. They are about awareness, clarity, and choice. The airport environment is fast, complex, and often intimidating, but each right outlined, from rebooking options to withholding consent, from retaining assigned seating to requesting direct communication, exists to protect travelers, particularly seniors, without creating friction or difficulty. Exercising these rights is less about challenging staff and more about ensuring that personal comfort, health, and decision-making remain fully intact throughout every stage of travel. Awareness is the first step. Knowing that you can pause, ask questions, clarify instructions, and assert your preferences quietly and respectfully transforms what can feel like a pressured, rushed experience into one that is controlled, dignified, and manageable. Lourdes emphasizes that these practices are not only practical but also emotionally empowering, reinforcing confidence and reducing anxiety in environments that can feel overwhelming. The cumulative effect of using these rights consistently is profound. Seniors move through airports with intentionality, protecting their energy, autonomy, and peace of mind while traveling smarter, not harder. The final takeaway is simple. Knowledge is the most powerful travel companion. By understanding and remembering these rights, seniors can navigate delays, changes, and disruptions calmly, maintaining control without confrontation. Now, if this video has helped you see your travel options in a new light, share it with a friend, family member, or fellow senior traveler who could benefit from this guidance. By spreading awareness, you ensure that more seniors experience travel with confidence, clarity, and dignity, turning potentially stressful airport moments into smooth, informed, and empowering journeys.